What? What?
So we're out here today with my favorite human being, and when she was a little girl, we used to play a game called
Punch the daughter.
We used to play a game when she was little because I'd pick her up about every 2 weeks from school, and it was called 100 Questions. And I would ask her a question and she would ask me a question. So, first question, what's your favorite color?
Purple.
What?
Purple.
I can't hear you.
Purple.
Like Donny Osmond's socks.
Yeah.
You know who Donny Osmond is?
Yeah.
Are you a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll? So you're supposed to ask me a question.
What's your favorite, like, nice dinner?
If I could have any dinner I wanted right now, my favorite nice dinner? Geez, that's a tough one. Sugared turkles. Do you remember what sugared turkles are?
Not really.
They're lizard's eyeballs deep fried and rolled in powdered sugar.
That's right.
Yeah. So name 3 musical acts that you've been listening to for the past month consistently. I know Donnie and Marie, you know, the whole purple thing.
Florence and the Machine, David Bowie, and Hole.
Like Hole in my head.
No, like Courtney Love.
Oh. Did you know that I met her and Kurt Cobain before they were famous outside of the Metro in Chicago across the street from Wrigley Field?
Yeah, I think you told me that story.
And I walked up to this skinny little bastard who was about your height and about half your weight. And I said, hey, you guys were really good. And he goes, and his girlfriend goes, did you hear that? We were really good.
You're
was like,
lucky
wow.
She didn't punch you.
I was like, wow, what a dick. Maybe I should sell you to Bedouins. But, well, I've heard of 2 of those bands. So, next question for Dad.
I don't know, I'm not very good.
Isn't there anything that you want to know about your father who you haven't seen since 1715 when we were separated on the Queen Anne's Revenge?
What's the perfect weather conditions?
For me, 65 degrees with colorful trees. So if you could live, Sage, if you could live any place on the earth for the rest of your life with the snap of a fingers, where would it be?
New York, I guess, like Manhattan.
In the flood zone?
Yeah, let's
The tsunami? New York,
live in
huh?
an underwater house at Coney Island.
That would be cool. Next. Survey says.
What is your favorite TV show growing up?
My favorite TV show growing up, what age?
I don't know, like when you were in elementary school.
When I was in elementary school, I used to run as fast as I possibly could all the way home to watch Speed Racer and The Amazing Spider-Man. What do you mean? We didn't have TV back then. We lived in central Illinois. We didn't get TV till the 1980s. So what are your 3 of your favorite films.
Kiki's Delivery Service.
I love that one.
Marie Antoinette and
Good soundtrack, huh?
Crimson Peak.
Crimson Peak. I don't think I've seen that.
It's Guillermo del Toro. It's
So
got
we
really great costuming and set design.
so we will have to watch that. So, can't think? You need some whiskey?
I'm not good at coming up with questions.
Like, what's the meaning of life? We already know that one.
It's 42.
42. So you think you know everything about me?
Now I just don't know what to ask people.
Where was I in 1989 in August? The FBI doesn't know either. I'm about to start singing Simon and Garfunkel.
If you could time travel to one place in history, when and where would it be?
I only get one choice.
You could say a few things. I wouldn't just want to live in Manhattan. That's just a cool place I
No.
like to travel to.
One place you could snap your fingers and live there for the rest of your life. Where would it be?
Where I currently live.
Yeah.
Not that adventurous.
Well, there's a reason that me and your mother, decided to have you at Easter Island. We like the sculpture. So you just asked me, you see the memory issues with MS?
If you could go one place in time,
One place in time. Currently, I'd go back to 1700, steal a boat, and I would become the most famous pirate in history. And what would my pirate name be? What would be a good pirate name for me? What would you name me as my pirate name?
I don't know.
I'd love that name. It's my favorite. How about Purple Beard?
You can borrow some of my color depositing shampoo.
Yeah. So Sage, if you were stranded on a desert island and Tom Hanks isn't there with his soccer ball, but if you're stranded on a desert island and you had to choose one food that you would have an infinite supply of to eat for the time that you are there, possibly the rest of your life, what would that one food be?
Clean water. I can just fish.
Okay, but you can choose anything you want, and every day you'll open up a cooler and there it will be, anything you want.
I mean, I'd prefer to be practical.
You mean like cornbread?
Yeah, okay. That's great in a hot island. Really quenches your thirst.
No sushi, no, pizza.
You could have rice and make sushi with the fish.
Yeah. Do you have a animal on the earth that you feel attached to, that you really love and are attached to that particular type of animal?
I've always loved cats.
Yep.
So I had most in common with cats out of most of any animal.
That's a silly question, seeing that she has 37 cats. She doesn't even need comforters in the winter. So you got a question for me? You're not even going to ask why I'm not wearing pants? Dr. Eric Selvig's my hero. Okay, I'll ask you. What are your dad's 3 favorite? What has your dad been listening to as far as music goes for the last month? Scandinavian folk music and
Usually what you play.
Scandinavian folk music? You mean like the Viking version of Willie Nelson?
Yeah.
It's summer, so I'm listening to reggae, huh? Come on, you want to sing with me? You can get it if you really want. You know, one of my fondest memories is driving home from work in Virginia Beach and pulling up in the driveway in my van, and Sage was about 2 feet high, and she's sitting on the front steps. She's tiny with her blonde little pigtails, and she's picking the petals off the flowers that I planted, and she's singing, "Three little birds upon my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, and I've got a bowl of Cocoa Puffs for you."
Cocoa Puffs really don't taste that good.
Well, they do if you put Hershey syrup on them.
Yeah, I don't really have those.
So, darling daughter, what is your favorite spot on the Gettysburg battlefield?
Probably either of the round tops because you can see the sunset.
Yeah, it's pretty, huh? So, what is your favorite thing to do in Gettysburg?
Go for walks, I guess.
Go for walks? You go for a lot of walks without me, huh?
Yeah.
Yep, from the bedroom to the fridge. You mean
Don't
like
forget the couch.
in the couch? We're out on day one, as usual, where we live. And my cousins burned that barn down. There used to be a barn there back during the battle. The 13th South Carolina came across here on day 2 of the battle, and they were tasked with burning down the barn that used to be near where that barn now stands. So, Sage, when you told me recently, you said, you know, Dad, I'm an adult now, I know stuff.
Yeah, I'm 22.
What is this? What do you mean stuff? You mean like earwax sandwiches and booger soup?
Yeah, become a master at it.
That's good stuff. So, what was your favorite thing that you did at Hershey Amusement Park the other day?
The zoo, even though
The
we
zoo,
had
awesome.
to leave early to go find Skylar's phone.
Oh, that was a bummer. He lost his phone.
I really got it back though.
And you had fun at the water park?
Yeah. The water slides.
Good. Good. But you asked me some good questions, so I will ask you the same questions in turn. If you could live in any time period for any amount of time that you wished, which time period would it be? What would be first on your list?
If it was a perfect world, probably the 18th century.
Good
But
choice.
then you have to worry about getting your head cut off or starving, depending on your social standing. If you live in France, which is what I was aiming at.
So what I think you meant to say is that a lot of things that happened in history were terrible.
Yeah, people don't know how to act.
Do you know who Anne Bonny was?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, of course
You
I do.
always surprise me.
Anne Bonny and Mary Read. They're
Thank
pirates.
you. No, I couldn't remember. Now, was that her sister or
Um,
just her friend?
I think they were just friends.
No, because I haven't had the concentration to sit down and look up her partner in crime. Yeah, that's cool. So, we both opt for the 18th century. That's good. Now, do you know what that tells me? Is that time periods that you are drawn to, that you admire, that you aspire to reenact, are time periods that we once lived in before. I'm pretty convinced that Sage was my grandmother. So, because what I believe is, when you encounter people in this lifetime, some of them you've met for the first time, but many people that you encounter in this lifetime, you have met in a previous lifetime. And you are, in this lifetime, continuing your relationship from your last lifetime. So, what are we going to have for dinner?
I want pork ribs.
And mashed taters? And peas? Or green beans or corn? We got corn on the cob.
I like corn.
Corn is so expensive here. It's not like the Midwest. In the Midwest, you get 100 ears for 32 cents. So what are we going to watch on television tonight? We already watched that. We had I Don't Know for breakfast. We had I Don't Know for lunch. We watched I Don't Know this morning. We watched a documentary on I Don't Know yesterday. I Don't Know is my favorite. So, what is your favorite Ben & Jerry's?
Fish food.
Fish food. Good choice. Mine's Chunky Monkey or Chubby Hubby. Because we are on a pilgrimage across the Gettysburg battlefield, a mile from our home, to go and acquire 2 pints of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. And then we are going to head home, cut back across the run, and she's got her snazzy death rocker goth hiking outfit on. And you all, if you're tuning in, if you watch my silly videos, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this brief conversation with me and the Soda Pop Kid. Have a good night, y'all. So, all of this ancient wisdom and lore that I have imparted to you over the ages, what can you tell me about that hand?
I don't know.
You don't remember the hand?
No.
The Red Hand of Ulster?
I thought that was a different monument.
It's in several monuments. So, these guys, so you're talking about the smaller marker over by the Pennsylvania Monument?
Yeah.
This is when, on day one, they were pushed back over to Cemetery Ridge. So this is where they originally were. But that hand is a symbol that was used on banners of war in ancient Ireland, all the way back to the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, the 10th century. And it has lasted through the ages as a symbol of the tribes of Northern Ireland. Connacht, the Wee Neal. But that's what that hand is. I would imagine some ancient Irish warrior took his bloody hand back in the late 6th century and put his bloodied hand on a piece of cloth, and that became their banner. And so, when you see that hand, now you know from whence it came. Damn birds shitting on the monuments. So Sage, do you know if Rhett is buried next to Scarlet?
Been a pretty rough divorce, so maybe not.
Now, can you tell me, how did they fight this battle with all these monuments around everywhere, and the monuments didn't get any bullet holes?
They were really careful.
They were really careful. I keep asking the park rangers if they could move a couple of the monuments so I can get better photos, but they're not very cooperative. Have you ever hijacked a cherry picker?
No.
Hijacking a cherry picker is something that everybody should have on their bucket list. Going down the road, you get a really good view. What's the matter with you?
My mouth is full.
Why? What do you think this is? Instagram? It's a Reese's commercial? I'm trying to sell Reese's. Well, I'm not going to show a picture of, anybody's butt. Maybe my hairy butt will sell some Reese's. So if you remember, this is where General Reynolds was killed, was shot in the neck and killed on day 1 of the battle in the morning. And we now know that he was shot by Private Cody Zahn from New York, who actually went south and became a Confederate soldier. Poor John. And we are headed into the woods looking for the ever elusive Teddy Bear's Picnic. You gonna lead the way, kiddo?
Little gothic gnomes. Little gothic gnomes everywhere.
Sage, if you just smear the dead bugs on you, then they won't bother you. So do you like my sense of humor? Mm-hmm. The spider webs are getting all over you? Mm-hmm. Now you know why I let you go first. Mm-hmm. Sage, what? Why do you hate me?
I don't.
Why not?
Give me a reason to.
God, I'll try harder. What are we having for dinner?
I'm having pork ribs.
Since we got totally gypped on the Ben & Jerry's. We went all the way to the Sunoco, a mile away across the battlefield. And that's an amazing feat on 1.5 leg. And they had no ice cream. Their freezers shut down. And then their coffee was empty. That poor kid. He didn't see me coming. But he'll never forget me. So, darling daughter, say goodbye to all the grumpkins and snarks.
Bye.
Get these damn flies off of me. Get these damn flies off of me. Meow. Good kitty. It's a lot of hamburger.